my best friend. And he was the shit, okay? We'll call him Kyle. Now, me and Kyle, we kind of had a beef with this other student. And it wasn't just us. There was many other people at the school that had the same beef that we did with this other student. This kid, we'll call this guy Justin. Justin was like a typical high school bully. Well, it wasn't high school, but he was a typical school bully. So he was always just like shit talking people, making fun of people for shit they couldn't help. Like one time he like made fun of this girl because of the color of her hair. I've never seen that before. He was roasting a girl because her hair was blonde. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if you know this, but that's an average color for a hair color. And he looked over at me and he's like, shut the fuck up, blondie, because my hair also was blonde. And he was like, stop trying to defend your blonde friend. And I was like, what even are you trying to do right now, bro? And like, that's just the type of kid this guy was, man. Like Justin was just a bully. Like, that's all I could describe him as. And one day, Justin took it too far, and me and my boy Kyle decided it's time to get some revenge on Justin. Not just for us, but for the entire school, because this kid had been going around unchecked for too long, causing problems. So one day, we're in class, right? 6th grade, school had just started, we were in first period, and Justin was literally sitting right behind me, and we had assigned seats. So of course, I got unlucky enough to have Justin, this fucking bully, sit right behind me, right? And I'm just sitting there, first period had just started, like I said, and I hear him start to talk to the person sitting next to him. There was this girl that sat next to him. We'll call her Alexis. Alexis was super quiet, super harmless, like she was one of the nicest girls in our class. She was so cool, right? And I start to hear him talking to her, and he's saying incredibly mean shit to her about her face. I hear him say that her eyes are too far apart. By the way, they weren't. There was nothing wrong with this girl's face whatsoever. Alexis was a completely normal looking human being. And honestly, regardless of what someone looks like, you just don't fucking say that to someone. I would never go up to someone and be like, hey dude, this one part about your face, I don't like very much. Like, who the fuck does that? So I hear him say this to her, and I turn around because I couldn't believe what I was fucking hearing. And I look over at Alexis, and she's starting to cry. She is literally tearing up because this fucking piece of shit Justin is making fun of her face and bullying her, right? And I look over at Justin, and I was like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he's like, what? I was like, why would you say that to someone? And it's not even true. He's like, dude, worry about your own fucking face. How about that? And I was like, how about this? Worry about yourself. And he goes, I am worried about myself. It seems like you're a little bit worried about me too. And I was like, the only thing I'm worried about is the lack of fucking brain cells you must have to speak to other people like that. And he goes, what are you going to do about it? And I was like, go fuck yourself, Justin. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And he like sticks his tongue out and throws me the finger. And I was like, okay. And I turn around, right? And I look over, and Kyle is on the other side of the room looking at us. He's looking at me because he could see me, looking visibly pissed. He could see Alexis is crying. He could see that Justin has a big stupid smile on his face and that clearly he just did something to, hurt her feelings and piss me off. And Kyle obviously was now concerned, right? He wanted to know what just happened. He wanted to, get involved and, be on the right side here. So he texts me during class and he's like, yo, what did he just say to her? And I tell him. And he's like, oh, fuck no. Like, Alexis is awesome. I can't believe this. Like, he was pissed. The same way I was, right? Like, this girl, Alexis, never hurt anybody, was so quiet. She did not deserve what this dickhead Justin just said to her. So, me and Kyle both were pissed, right? And Kyle's like, yo, we have to get revenge. Not just for me, not just for you, not for Alexis, but for everybody. This motherfucker, Justin, is literally a dick to everybody. We need to get revenge. And I was like, bro, I couldn't agree more. So me and Kyle both agreed that at lunchtime, we would, come up with a plan. We'd scheme something up. We'd, plan something. And that day, we would do it. We would get revenge that day. And we knew it had to be something that could completely embarrass him and humiliate him the same way he humiliated and embarrassed many people in our class, right? So we really had to make it good. So we get to lunch, right? Later that day, lunchtime rolls around. I'm sitting at my lunch table with Kyle and a couple other friends of ours who also did not like Justin at all. And we're all trying to scheme up a plan. We're all trying to come up with something. And we're just completely drawing blanks. Like, we just do not know what to do. Like, everything everyone at the whole table is trying to come up with just doesn't work, right? It's just not good enough, or it's impossible to do. Like, we can't come up with shit, right? And it got to a point where we're like, okay, we'll have to do it on some other day. because nothing we can do today will be worth, doing. And we kind of gave up. And I remember we're just chilling there, like eating our food. And I see Kyle reach into his lunchbox and he pulls out a full-sized Hershey bar for dessert. And I look at it and immediately it just hits me. I have the idea. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly how to do it. And I have the best plan ever to get back at Justin. It's like a light bulb went off in my head, or turned on, I should say. And I look over at Kyle and I was like, yo, don't eat that. He's like, what? I was like, bro, I got the idea. I know what to do, and I need that to do it. He goes, all right, well, tell me. And immediately everybody huddles around the table and I start telling them my idea. Now, I could tell you what I told them at the table, but it's best I just skip to our next period class and tell you exactly what went down. So step 1, lunchtime ended. I took Kyle's Hershey bar, I ran it over to the microwave on a paper plate, unwrapped. I microwaved it for like 30 seconds or like 45 seconds, completely melted it all over this paper plate, right? I then ran the paper plate down to our next period class, got to class first, put it on top of Justin's chair, and pushed the chair in underneath the desk. That way he didn't see it, that way it wasn't obvious, and hopefully he would just pull the chair out and sit down without looking and sit all over the melted chocolate, right? Now after this, Kyle walks in. Kyle walks into class shortly after I did. He then puts a $1 bill from his wallet right in front of the table that Justin would be sitting at. Now after this, it was go time. We had to wait and see if our plan would officially, work. So that's what we did. Me and Kyle both sat in our seats, our assigned seats, and we hoped for the best. And I remember my teacher saw us there, like in class so early, and he was like, you guys are in class like exceptionally early for once. It kind of scares me. And I was like, what do you mean? And my teacher was like, come on, don't play dumb. You guys are never this early to my class. Like, what are you guys up to? And we both just laughed and we're like, nothing. He goes, really? You're not up to something? And we're like, no. And he goes, okay. And he goes back to like getting ready to, do his lesson, right? Now, a couple minutes later, everyone starts pouring in, right? The first bell rings, so everyone's pouring in. And then the second bell rings. And at this point, everybody's in the classroom. Everyone's sitting down. And Justin walks over to his chair. He pulls out the chair. And just as I hoped for, he didn't look before sitting down. And he sits all up in that melted Hershey bar on that paper plate. And he doesn't notice it. He doesn't feel it. He doesn't realize it. He sits in it. And immediately me and Kyle and another friend of mine from lunch all just look at each other with the biggest smiles on our face because we knew that phase 1 was complete and that it was fucking happening. And now it was time for phase 2. Everyone sat down. The room's quiet. The teacher is starting to teach. It was time for phase 2. So in this class we were in, the assigned seats, Kyle's assigned seat was actually kind of close to Justin's. It was close enough to where he could whisper to him and like talk to him. So Kyle leans over and whispers to Justin. He goes, yo, dude, did you drop that? And Justin goes, what? And Kyle goes, that dollar underneath your table, is that yours? And Justin's like, no, is there a dollar down there? I don't see it. And Kyle's like, yeah, look, like bend down, you can see it. And Justin bends down. He could see the dollar right by his feet. Now, the way our tables at our school were set up and the way that dollar was placed, Justin would have to get out of his seat to either crawl to grab it or stand up. And he went for crawl. He like got on his knee and like reached underneath the table to grab the dollar. And at that point, his butt was no longer in the chair. And Kyle quickly reaches over while he's not looking, grabs the plate of melted Hershey, folds it, and throws it into his backpack. At this point, Justin sits back into the chair. He has the dollar. And Kyle looks over at him and he's like, so was that your dollar? And Justin's like, it is now. Could have been yours, dumbass. Thanks for telling me about it. And he laughs and puts the dollar in his pocket. So let's recap. Justin got up. He got the dollar. Kyle took the plate, was able to fold it and throw it in his backpack and dispose of it and hide it before Justin saw it. And now he was back in the chair with no plate underneath him. He had the dollar. Everything was going completely perfect, according to plan. Phase 1 and 2, complete. Now it's time for the third and final phase. Me and Kyle both look over at our other friend that was sitting like not too far from Justin as well. We gave him the signal, the look. And our friend immediately makes the most realistic fart sound with his mouth I've ever heard in my life. And immediately Kyle screams out, oh, what the fuck? Yo, Justin shit his pants. Yo, guys, look, he shit himself. And everyone in the whole fucking class looks at Justin. You can see the melted chocolate pooling out from underneath the seat. And they're all like, yo, what the fuck? And Justin's like, no, what are you guys fucking talking about? And he stands up and he's like, no, this is a fucking prank. Someone put some fucking chocolate or something in my seat. Like, guys, look. And he like smears the chocolate off his butt and he like smells it and then tastes it. He goes, yeah, it's chocolate. It's just like, it's Hershey's or something. And I was like, oh my fucking God, Justin is saying his own shit. Meanwhile, my teacher's like, yo, language, guys, come on, language. What's wrong with you guys? Stop it. Everyone settle down right now. Like, back in your seats, sit down, stop yelling, stop screaming. Everyone stop this. Like, come on. Be mature. And everyone like quiets down, right? But you look around the room and everyone is trying to hold it in and lock in so hard. I don't think I looked at a single person in that room, besides Justin, obviously, that wasn't on the verge of like tears from laughing. Like everybody's face, you could tell they were like locking in so hard, trying not to laugh at what just happened. And Justin's trying to like whisper around the room to the people around him that like it was just a prank and that it's not real shit. And they're all just laughing. And it was going like too perfect. Like me, Kyle, my other friends in the room that were like all in on this, we all were on like cloud nine. We were like just dying laughing because it went perfect. The plan literally went completely perfect with no issues. And Justin knew it was us. He kept giving me and Kyle the death stare. Like he knew. Because it was obvious. Kyle was the one that like called it out immediately. I was the one that, also called something out. Like it was very clear that we orchestrated this. So for the rest of that class, everybody was looking around trying not to laugh, right? And the teacher actually let Justin go to the bathroom to like clean up because he had Hershey's all over the bottom of his pants. And while he was in the bathroom, the teacher actually said something about it. He was like, look, I have a feeling that 2 students in here today did that to him. You 2 students know who you are. Stay after class. And he looks at me and Kyle. And me and Kyle look at each other like, oh shit. So anyway, fast forward to the end of class. The teacher ends up holding me, Kyle, and Justin after. And immediately upon us like staying after, the teacher looks at all of us and he goes, I knew you 2 were up to something. And he pointed to me and Kyle. And we were like, what do you mean? He's like, don't play stupid. You obviously put something in his chair. Come on. And I was like, all right, fine. I'll admit it. Yeah, I did. And the teacher's like, why would you do that? I was like, because you have gone unchecked for too long. And I pointed at Justin. I was like, I saw you make Alexis cry earlier. You made her cry because you told her her eyes were too far apart. You made fun of her for something that isn't even true. And on top of that, is just downright evil to do. Like, I don't care what someone looks like. You do not say that to somebody. That is absolutely pure evil. And my teacher looks over at Justin and he's like, is this true? You made her cry? And Justin tries to like downplay it. He's like, oh my gosh, don't listen to him. He's being such a baby. He's completely like playing it up. Literally, I made a joke to Alexis and she thought it was funny. I was like, really? Last time I checked, people only cry from either sadness or from laughing. And she was not laughing. And Kyle chimes in. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I saw it from across the room. She was sad. She was crying. And my teacher goes, if that's true, you should never do that again. And he points at Justin. And Justin's like, okay, fine, I won't. And then the teacher kind of, turns his attention back to me and Kyle. He goes, look, guys, I'm letting you off with a warning. Don't do what you did to him again, okay? Don't. And Justin's like, what? That's it? You're not giving them detention? You're not going to like give them like an in-school suspension or something? And my teacher, to this day, one of the best things I've ever heard a teacher say, he goes, no, I'm not gonna. I could, and I can if you want me to, but if I give them an in-school suspension or a detention, you're going to be right there next to him. And Justin's like, for what? He goes, you made that girl cry. And I was like, yes, he believes us, because he literally did. And Justin's like, never mind. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Just let him off with a warning. Because he fucking knew. He knew he was guilty and he didn't want to get detention too. So we got let off with a warning. The plan went completely perfect. Everyone thought it was fucking hilarious. And we didn't even get detention or a suspension for it. And after this, I remember we went back in the hallway. Like, the teacher let us go to our next period. And me, Kyle, and Justin all walked out together. And the minute we got into that hallway, Justin looks at both of us and he goes, fuck both of you. And I was like, Justin, you can't act surprised, bro. Like, you have been a dick to everybody. This was your karma. And then Justin goes, you both have to tell everybody that this was a prank. And I was like, Justin, don't you get it? I guarantee that more than half of the people in that class already know it was a prank. Literally, nobody shits themselves like that, man. Like, you were wearing jeans, it wouldn't fly through your jeans and go all through the chair like that. Like, I guarantee everyone knew it was a prank. They weren't laughing at you because they genuinely think you shit yourself. Well, maybe a few are. but most of them are probably laughing at you because you deserved to be pranked. They were laughing at you because it felt good to be on the other end of it for once. Like what you felt today, Justin, is how you've made everyone in that class feel so many times. And then Kyle chimed in. He's like, not just that class either. Many people at this school, not even just that class. And I was like, exactly, bro. So think about how you just felt and how embarrassing and how like fucked up that felt. That's how it feels when you're a dick to everybody else for them. Maybe think about that next time you try and act like an asshole to someone. And he was just like speechless. He didn't know what to say. And guys, looking back, it's obviously, not right to do what we did to Justin, okay? Like, stooping to his level isn't much better than what he did to other people. You could argue that what we did was a little bit bully-like, okay? However, I am proud to report that motherfucker was never mean to any of us again. I'm not kidding. The rest of that year, he was actually kind of cool. I actually had a few good conversations with the dude after this, and everyone else in the class didn't mind him as much because he wasn't bullying people constantly. I mean, I feel like the reason why is because if he did bully someone, they'd just be like, hey man, remember when you shit yourself? And he'd shut right up. But, it worked. I don't know if it's the best way to handle a situation like that, but it did work. That being said, though, I do have to say, don't do what we did, okay? We shouldn't have tried to, like, take revenge into our own hands and be, like, the vigilantes, whatever you want to call it. We probably should have, like, told someone that he made a girl cry and let them deal with it and suspend them or something, like the principal or a faculty member. But I can't change it, that's just how it went down. But in the end, he was a lot nicer, which is good. I'm glad to report that. No one really got in trouble, so that's good. We got talked to by the teacher, but we didn't get suspended or detention. And we probably would have if, he didn't make Alexis cry. That saved us in the end. And speaking of Alexis, when that all went down and she heard all about it, she had a big smile on her face. So she probably felt pretty good to know that her bully got some karma that day. But you know what? Looking back, this could have been a lot worse. This isn't one of those stories where someone, gets into a fight or something or like violence ensued. I think this was one of the most harmless ways to show him, Justin, that he was a bully and needed to knock it the fuck off. So in the end, even though I think it was kind of low of us to stoop there and, pull that prank, at least no one got hurt physically, and everyone in the end, I think, was better off afterwards. Like I said just a few moments ago, Justin was actually kind of cool after this, and I'd argue he made more friends afterwards because he was cooler. He wasn't being a dick to everybody. So in the end, I'd say it helped everybody. That being said, though,